house, wasn't cutting their grass, and just neglecting properties. So we would get those, and then we would send out letters to them and hope the people respond, which we did get a couple people who would come in. But when it comes to that, people have to be serious about selling their house, because we will run into the problems where people thought their houses were worth more than they actually was, with all the issues
Mm-hmm.
we would have to fix on the houses and stuff. Um, we also learned a little bit about the fixing and flipping and all that. So that's a little bit about my background. I don't have a whole lot, but um, real estate, that's one thing that I want to get into. And I probably would start with being like the landlord and renting out a property, because I'm actually consider buying a house now and renting out my house now. So I'm in the process of getting it together, getting some landscaping done, and just trying to
Put the lipstick on it.
just.
All right. So next up, Portia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Portia, and I'm a real estate investor and advisor at Denwell Properties. I also have several other businesses. My company, Denwell Properties, we buy properties, homes, commercial buildings, land. We sell property and we give free foreclosure help. Um, the main thing that we're focusing on now is getting people into homes without the bank. And we're just big on building generational wealth. So we just focus on educating people that, they could get in homes without the bank, and everyone be satisfied in the transaction. And it's simpler than people think. So that's what we're big on, is just educating people on doing investing and investing in different things. So thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure. We appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in. As I say, put you guys on the panel because different perspective, definitely helps people who is trying to get into the game of investing and stuff like that, even using their current property as an investment, stuff like that. So each one of you guys definitely come with a unique perspective on it, and would definitely, hopefully will benefit the group, as we discuss certain things throughout this Q&A session. All right. All right. And the one person who was not on the original panel but is in this call, Will, I'm gonna go ahead and throw you in this, so you can kind of give your perspective, like kind of what you do.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Will. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. Similar to like what Justin said, I've experienced through wholesaling, especially middleman in the deal. But I do it for mobile homes, and which is like it's a little bit simpler, well, a lot more simpler than single family home, and in the fact that they're sold like a car, so you'll handle your transaction through the DMV. And Texas is a little bit different than other states are, in the paperwork that they require. But it's really not a complex business to be in. To fix them doesn't cost that much. There's a lot of different avenues on how you can make money. The main reason I like it is there's not a lot of people in the space, or not as many people that's in the residential wholesaling space. So yeah, that's me.
You try to keep it straightforward, but hey, different perspective, because some people may not even think about having, doing mobile homes as an investment or flipping those as well. So definitely helps you with the different perspective of it. All right, so looking at it, right, from point of view, we're looking at, factors you want to need to consider when investing in a property, the type of property you want to focus on, your personal income, how much money, what is your current credit score? Does it really take a factor, picking the right mortgage arrangement, location, characteristics, consideration, type of tenant, So from my perspective, I'm just kind of being a moderator. So I'm gonna allow the four on the panel to kind of give me your perspective of it. Like, when you're looking at the type of properties and stuff like that. So I'll switch over to this slide. Is one property type for better than the other? Is it easier, to manage than the other? What are you guys' perspective in, like, when it comes down to like investing or picking something from what you have seen and experienced, from your side?
Uh, well, this is Alicia. I'll start. I mean, just from my perspective, single family homes have been kind of the gateway for a lot of, especially new time investors, just because really not many individuals have the income to actually go in to invest in general. So it's always, to me, a safe bet to start small and kind of grow. But single family homes, and then as well as land, not a lot of people know that you do have the ability to purchase land and purchase it at fairly low prices and go in and build, which could in some instances be cheaper than actually doing huge demos on homes.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that, the viewpoint. For Shay, Justin, Will, what do you guys? I know Will's on the mobile home side of the house.
Yes. I definitely think that land, to me, is like one of the important ones, I would say, because it's a lot of land out there. And I think it's just, land is an important thing to build wealth and to have things passed down from generation to generation. So land is what my company is big on. And then mobile homes, because just like, I think that was Will who said that is easier than people think to be able to flip mobile homes. So that's a good entry point, because it's, like a low income to get inside, be able to flip mobile homes. You don't need that much money. So you can easily do that also. So land and mobile homes, that's what I like.
Okay. So you got the land and mobile home, your perspective. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Justin.
Far as me, I probably would look to like single family and probably mobile homes. I think those land probably wouldn't be too bad, but I would say single family and mobile homes, I think it would be a whole lot easier. Condos would probably be a little bit harder due to, usually when you think about condos, there's high HOAs and stuff like that. And even multiple families like duplexes, and stuff like that. That's what I personally would try to go for.
Okay. All right. Will?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like y'all already said. Y'all know where I'm leaning. Mobile homes, definitely. Just because your average person can buy a used mobile home and put in the work that it needs to be turned over. You know what I mean? And then you can make a extremely good profit from it. And then once you get in like to a good enough position of where you're able to like flip these regularly, and you own some of these, then you buy land. In my mind, buy land and you can put your homes there. Then you like slowly make out your own park.
Okay. So from a perspective of someone that's coming into it, single family, buying land and mobile homes will probably be like the areas that you feel will be most lucrative, coming into it.
And multifamilies, I wouldn't knock multifamilies as well, because it just depends on the strategy that you would like to get in. And I say that only because you can get into a multifamily. Banks lend if you're doing the traditional route. Banks do lend in homes for up to four units. So you do have that ability to, if you want to go into a multifamily for a duplex, take a duplex for instance, you can live in one side and rent out the other, and use that as income as well. So I wouldn't rule out multifamilies as well.
Okay, that's definitely a good point. Like I was looking at that as well, because if you look at the multifamily home setup, like you said, yeah, you can live in one side rent out the other side, you pretty much have close access to basically the property, and you'll be able to, you know, keep a close eye on how it's being maintained and everything as well.
Like, imagine if you had a fourplex and you lived in one and you rented out the other three.
Yeah, that too.
Oh my God, free money. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. They paying for all your bills.
Yeah,
Right.
look like it's Mr. Joseph Clark hand is raised.
Yeah, I got a question. So what do y'all think about, let's say I go to Atlanta, and let's say I go to Riverdale area, and
Mhm.
inside the neighborhood out in Riverdale, I noticed lots of land being sold. So I just buy a lot here, a lot there, a lot here, a lot there. But I don't do anything with them at the time. I'm waiting. So do you think that's a good idea? Or, because
If
my
you-
cousin, not my cousin, a friend of mine, who I call my cousin, he does that in Memphis. And he just buys just random lots in the neighborhood. And it's like he owned a lot of lots in the neighborhood. He's been doing it for like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have the money to be able to buy and hold and sit on it, land is only going to appreciate. So you just never know if you want to build on it yourself, or you wait for some, I don't know, you could hit an instance where a major company or something may come in and buy up just particular lots. So I definitely think it's always a win-win.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, because I noticed I don't want to say this, but in the hood, like them lots of land is cheap. You can get a lot of land, the small ones, $800, $900, $1,100.
Right.
And, and I was like, you could buy it and just sit on it. But I didn't know, and I mean, he do it, but I never knew if it was a good idea or not. Like talking to the experts, which is you all.
Yeah, because just like I said, it creates generational wealth. So it could always be passed down to your children. If you don't, if he doesn't do anything with it, which you think should, but it could still get passed down to his kids, or any family members, and y'all will have land. I think it's very important for us to have land in our names and own land. So yeah, it's definitely good that he have all those lots, and maybe he'll come up with something just like she said that he could like rent it out to bigger companies like McDonald's. I'm just throwing out bigger companies, but depending on where's it at, he could rent it out to places like that, and he'll make a good killing, a good amount of money instead of just sitting there. But it's still good anyway, regardless.
Yeah, I would probably
Okay.
say that goes with the another portion of this factors consideration is location being important, because you look at it as if he's buying these land in these low income areas, because a lot of times we know that we have a lot of what they do, like a gentrification happen in the area. All of a sudden one area is basically low income, no one want to live there, and all of a sudden something big happen. They drop a stadium nearby, they drop like a Amazon factory, something happens, close by, and all of a sudden that particular location now becomes valuable. So if you look at it as if you're, buying it now, holding it because you have potentially, it can change, like what's going on in the neighborhood can change, then yeah, you're looking at a good investment. If you're coming in at $800, then you could buy, maybe like 2, acres, 3 acres, and all of a sudden that $800, in like a 5-year period of time now is worth, 800,000.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And, and then we look at your personal income. Do you feel like you have to have like a really stable personal income for it?
Yeah, I think it just depends on whatever route. I mean, if you're seeking to do traditional financing, then it does look better to have stable income. And then banks do typically require 2 years if you're employed. If you're self-employed, just depending on circumstances, there sometimes are lenient in allowing just 1 year of taxes or tax returns. So it just depends. I definitely think it could go either way.
Okay.
I think that it should be stable. Of course, you should, of course, be building yourself that. But if it's not stable, it's easy to get into real estate
Mhm.
and be able to build your money up to that, like do selling and stuff like that, where you know you could get, I'm just saying, $10,000 for wholesaling a property. So now you're
Okay.
able to build your business and you're able to set yourself up. But that's why, just like I said, you have to build yourself up to that and have that mindset that you're not just going to spend all your money and then you're unstable again. You know, you have to build yourself up with that money, build your business, you know, change your mindset, and you'll be able to have a steady income, you know, within a couple of months. Like if you do it right. And yeah, so it don't
Yeah.
have to, that's what I'm saying. It don't have to be stable at first, but you know, work on it.
So
And
basically, you have to have a plan, is what you're saying.
right.
But
Yeah,
something
definitely.
basically to build you
You don't
out in
need
the long run.
money to get into it. You don't need any money to get into it. You could be broke and still be able to wholesale a house. So it's just like I said, it has to be the mindset, you know, change first, and then you'll be able to do something with it.
Yeah, your mindset is everything.
Mhm.
Right.
That's a good point.
Okay, so now we'll basically go into the other piece. So basically, how much money do you need to perform property investment? Pretty much, you like guys are saying, pretty much you can go from like a zero, no money type set scenario, and you know depends on how you kind of come into it. You know, from a perspective, because even if you're wholesaling or you buying a regular property, people are looking at saying that, hey, you know, you should have some type of money, you know, to invest in it. Like,
Right.
what are you guys seeing? Like from people who like have like no money, how do they kind of get into it? From people who have like at least, you know, a few $100 to a few $1,000s.
You
Like,
need at least a few $100s to wholesale. Like you can't just be flat broke.
Don't you need an earnest money deposit?
So like, but you can negotiate that out. You know what I mean? Like your earnest deposit, I can give you $1 in earnest money if I got you believing enough that you're gonna get your money. So,
That's true.
but it's like you can't. Where you need the money at is in the marketing. So
Yes.
you can very much so wholesale a house flat broke using all free platforms, and you post your stuff, and you can go in there with good intentions and being like, I'm gonna try to post this once a week or 3 times a week or whatever, but you're gonna fall off. And once you fall off, it's hard to pick back up, and especially if you're not seeing no activity from what you're doing, you're gonna fall off. But you can pay to like promote your stuff. You can go out there and like put yourself out there, and that stuff, it takes money. It doesn't take like in your face money, but you'll notice that it adds up over time. But you're adding up to get to the goal that you want.
Right.
okay.
Yep.
I'm going to speak for myself. I'm going to speak for myself.
Okay.
How I started from the bottom, okay, with no money. So I started with emails. Okay, so it was just basically my time. That's what it took, was my time. So
And that's an investment too.
happen. That's why I said I'm speaking for myself. Definitely possible, but it's going to take time. That's what it took from me, or whatever. But I definitely put my work in and put my time in, and was able to build it, you know, without any money. But yeah, it does eventually add up, you know, month by month. But I started out with nothing. I started out with nothing. Emails, door to door. That's how I started. So
Okay,
yeah.
so we're looking at basically what you're looking performing money-wise can actually translate into actual time. Basically, between having some money to put into it, but also having the time, because technically you could take that time and go work a 9 to 5 and make money, but you just divert that time to basically working on this for you to be able to make and generate money for it. So
I definitely would say that is true. When you have less money, you're gonna have to put in more time. When
Right.
you
Yep.
Definitely are.
money, you can put in less time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
all right, let's get some feedback. Krista, Markel, Nishi, Ricky, any questions? I will start unmuting people in a minute.
So how exactly, Will, did you get into doing the mobile homes? I mean, like, what exactly did you do to get started? How did you actually go about it?
How did I actually go about it? Like, so I'm a person who, I don't know, I always I always through like, I guess you'll say lazy nature. You can call it whatever you can call it whatever you want. I want to know what's a way that I can get the most return for the least amount of effort for something that I do. So I was listening to a podcast. It's called Bigger Pockets,
Mhm.
and they happen to be talking about it. And they're talking about, yeah, you know, you get your mobile home, you can find them for like $3,000-$4,000. You put like maybe $5,000 worth of effort into it, and like rarely $5,000, like rarely, like basically like $2,000-$3,000 into it. You make this thing nice and livable, because you got to think a mobile home is not big. It's like you might be looking at 14 by 80. It's not big. It's definitely not big, but they optimize the space. So you fix this thing up for a couple $1,000s. Now this mobile home that you purchased for like 3,000, you put like 3,000 in, you turn around and you sell for maybe $15,000, $20,000, and people buy them because they're looking for a home that they can have that's less than the amount of an actual house, because some people can't afford it. So when I heard that, I was like, well, I just need to start trying to talk to people who have mobile homes. And if you're trying to sell it, I'm trying to see what you're trying to do about it. And that's how I got myself into it. I just started putting myself out there because the numbers made sense to me. You can put very minimal like cash into this thing and you can make a lot of money.
So with the mobile homes, this is Ricky speaking. Like, what about like the land? I know you have to like rent the land for mobile homes. Does that, take a toll on the process?
It depends on how the transaction goes. So some mobile homes come with land, some come in parts, some come to where you have to move them. So more often than not, you'll find mobile homes for sale, but they have to be moved. They was never a part of the land. They might have had an agreement with the landowner and maybe that ran out. Or if they're in the park, they might be able to stay there because they have a land agreement with the park owner. But it's very rare that you'll see these mobile homes like coming with land. They do come with it, but they're very expensive if you come with that, because you're basically buying, you're not just buying land now you're buying a house on land, which jacks the price up. They can be anywhere almost near like $100,000. So those I don't really focus on too much, because I'm like, that's out my range. So but the main ones I focus on are the ones that can be moved. They're the easiest process to go through, because once you purchase them, it's up to the end buyer who gets it to find a company to move it wherever they need to move it to. You're no longer part of that process. I hope I'm answering your question. I know I'm giving a lot of long answers.
I would like to
Yeah.
jump in for the land part. That there's a lot of land out here that you could do seller financing, where you don't
Oh
need
my
to
God.
get a loan from the bank or anything. And I come in contact with, a lot of people who's willing to do literally $2,000 down. So it's like I said, it's simpler than people think. You could be able to own your land. You could find you a piece of land, 5,000 down. I'm just saying, on average, and be able to put your mobile home on there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's out there.
And that's like the other thing that
Do
like
it.
I'll tell people whenever I go into a deal with them, because you'll have like this, you get this mobile home and say maybe like one of the walls is like blown off of it or something like that. So you can get it for free, which there's a lot of them people don't know. You can get for free as long as you have like the means to get it moved. Then you can worry about fixing it later, right? So say you get you a free mobile home, it's just completely dilapidated. It's a single wide. So here in Texas, a single wide is going to cost you like $2,000 to move it, right? So you pay the money, you get it moved because you know somewhere, or maybe you can do like how you said, you purchase you some land, and the land was cheap because you can see land that's like 1,200 down, and you get like 1/10 of an acre or whatever, or maybe you can get up to like 1/4 of an acre, and you're still not putting that much money down. you put your mobile home there, which is more than enough space. So now you put that there. You've paid $2,000 to move it, $1,200 to get the land. You put the repairs in, and you make sure it looks nice, right? So, like, say you put $4,000 into it, and you got it looking good. The wood looking tile flooring, new walls, new restroom stuff. Because you don't really have to do much. You don't really have to do like the piping or nothing like that. Like depending upon the year that you get. So you do that, right? You spend $4,000, $2,000 on the move. That's $6,000. $1,200 on the land, right? So you're looking at $7,200. You can then in turn turn around and sell this on seller finance for like $20,000, especially depending on where it is. If there's other mobile homes around and they cost more, you can take and you can sell yours for that amount. Seller finance, you tell them, give me $1,000 down. They have it. You have an arranged amount of payments, just like a vehicle, for you to pay it off. You're making that money every month. That's when it's a business, because in wholesaling, you're just you do a bunch of one-offs. Like, that's a business.
Right.
All right, good discussion, guys. Good discussion, because you look at the different pieces that you have to, really kind of get involved with. You got the actual property itself, form of a mobile home, but then you also potentially, if you're going to be using, land pieces in there, how you're going to give one thing to the other, things that people don't think about. If you think like, okay, a mobile home, you should be able to move it easily, but like you even say, the cost is to even moving the property and stuff like that, and from one place to the other. But then if you're looking at it, whole picture, if you're looking at the mobile home with the land, now you're looking at value, cost going up because how everything's going to be packaged together. Because again,
Right.
one thing I would say ultimately with anything with investing for property, all the people, continue to have kids like that, populate, land is not going to basically grow. Basically, that's one thing that's always going to be the same. From 10 years from now, 100 years from now, land is going to be the same unless someone started dredging something up, and building something out, in the water somewhere. But land is going to be the same, so which a lot of times the cost of that factoring with the home being built on it or a mobile home being put on it makes basically the process a little more complicated and rises the price up.
Right.
Right. All right. So, looking that kind of discussion kind of rounds things into, location being very important, characteristic of the property, type of tenant, kind of going into it, current condition of the market, all the things that you have to kind of factor in when you're making a decision, which way you're going to sway with it. If you think it's easy to wholesale something, easy to be a landlord, easy just to buy the land, it's like that, certain points, all of those are kind of be things I'm looking at saying you have to kind of factor in, but then also things to looking at consideration when buying investment property. Some people say, being handy and fixing things. Like I will say, if you had bought a mobile home that had a wall blown out, and cost of basically is going to be in there to basically have to go and fix that. Or even if you have a regular property and the wall is blowing out, you have to look at basically having to repair the property. Income varies, and you're looking at consideration of property taxes, and Alicia said earlier, start small, and then other pieces are like partner wisely, things like that. So what do you guys think in those realms? So we're all going to shoot with the fixing up the properties from what you've seen, because a lot of times people say they want to, get investment property, even if being like a single family home, duplex, mobile home, would it be easy just to get something that's going to need, that's you're going to need to basically fix it up to come in that route instead of getting something that's almost like turnkey?
In my opinion, it'd definitely be easier to get something that needs to be fixed up, because it's that leaves room for the negotiation.
Yep.
Yeah, if something's already fixed up, you gotta take that as it is, and there's no room. Not only for your price standpoint, but you got to make sure there's room for you to make money.
Right.
Yeah, like there ain't
Right.
it's got to worth your time. You don't want to, and that's the same if something needs to be fixed up too. It's got to make sure that it's worth your money. Like just because something's like in terrible condition and you get it for a really great price, you don't know the amount of work that has to go into it if you're not like skilled at looking at it. And if you're doing it for like a single family home or like a multi-unit or something like that, and you don't truly know how to like eyeball things, and obviously you don't know how to look through walls, so you don't know if like it's structurally sound. So like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. You can mess around and spend more trying to fix this than you'll make.
Okay, so from that
You in a
point,
situation like that
Hmm?
where you're at a loss, would you keep it until you made a little bit of money from a tenant, or would you sell it and just take the loss?
That's what I would do. I would try to rent it at that point. If I
Yeah,
was taking a loss on something, just try to rent it. Try to do something to recoup your money, because like it'll hurt so much more if you turn around and sell it, and then somebody walks you down on the sale. Like it would hurt you so
Right.
much more. Yeah.
yeah.
So just at that point, I would just rent it.
okay, but then wouldn't that come into consideration? You know, like one of the lines here talking about choosing your partners wisely. So if you're coming into basically the whole game of looking at investment property, you're looking at having to build your team, right?
Yep.
Wouldn't for like a, you know, if you're just buying a single family home duplex, one of your team members could be a real estate agent, you know, to help you scout out the homes and location. So that
They
way, when you
definitely want
go
one. They
into
got the
something,
MLS.
yeah, I'm saying some people go around, you know, looking at homes and kind of going from there. But I'm saying
Yeah.
that kind of helps
Yeah.
reduce your risk when you bring in certain people that you know, build partnership with and on your team. You know, so that
Yeah.
kind of minimizes the risk, because if you're looking at having an agent come in, the agent kind of, you know, gives you MLS and kind of know the area, and then you may have make a partnership or add on your team. May have someone to be like someone who actually does repairs and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
So
have
it's,
a
Yeah,
double
that's
Right.
big.
contractor,
Yeah.
have a good appraiser. Like, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like you want
You need
my
a whole
bad for cussing
team.
out here, but like yeah, you want to have like
Yeah.
a solid team. Like people
Definitely.
don't know the value in teamwork and having a network. It's oh my god, like you'll be all day long trying to do this by yourself. Like,
That is true.
oh my god, yeah, have a team, man, because somebody knows more than you. Somebody been doing this longer than you. Like,
all right. So let me
That is
get
very true.
Alicia's your point of view. You know, being an agent. What do you?
No, I mean, I agree with the rest of the panel. Like, the team is definitely necessary. I would say, I mean, this whole thing is really about leverage, and it's leveraging other people's time, leveraging other people's resources, whether that's money, whether that's knowledge. So definitely building a team and having a team is beneficial. One of the ways, I mean, all investments have some type of risk, but like the rest of the panelists have mentioned, it's just all about reducing your risk. And then one thing in real estate investing is just really knowing your numbers.
knowing your
Once you're going
numbers.
in. So knowing your numbers before, like you should know where you are when you buy. Like, so
Okay, so
go ahead.
no, I was saying, so basically, yeah, you know, building a team, doing your research before you even engage into the process of buying something.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely, I mean, like you're really making your money when you buy. So that's knowing everything about the property, knowing potential, just closing costs, anything, just whatever your exit strategy is, just knowing what your numbers are, knowing where you need to be before you even make that move.
Okay.
Just if I could add on to that, this is Everton. I'm an agent in South Carolina as well. For the new people that want to venture into property investments, I would suggest joining your local RIA group, which is your real estate investment associations. Most cities have at least one, and like here in South Carolina, we have several of them, and some of them you have to pay for to be a part of, and some of them are free. But it goes back to the point that you guys made of networking. You have to network with those people, and like I'm not sure who said it, but they're veterans, so they already know the process. And if you buddy up with someone that'll show you the ropes, it's a whole lot easier than trying to go out here and do it yourself.
Oh my god, so much easier.
True. Yeah.
So much easier. Like have somebody show you the way, man. Like there's no reason to try to stumble along and like go through all these why go through trouble that you don't have to?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Let's say Portia, any input from your perspective?
On choosing the partners
partner.
wisely.
Yeah, building your
Yeah.
team, because I think this will be a key factor in when you're going into investment, because it's kind of like a business, building your
Yeah.
team outright.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what they said is very important, just to have a trusted network around you, to be able to call somebody, have some type of mentorship, and just like he said, joining your local real estate investing group and partner with people, and you'll learn a lot. It's a good learning experience just being around different type of people to learn different aspects, and then just creating a partnership with them. So yes, it's critical to have a trusted network.
Okay. So then look at this right here. So with you guys on the panel, have you had a nightmare experience having the wrong person on your team?
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, not really.
I
So
wouldn't say so.
nothing
Because I
bad.
mean, you kind of know going into it, like before you get too deep, you kind of know. Or at least I know from like my perspective. Because like people don't. I think it goes back to like knowing your numbers. That'll kind of rule you out. Like,
Okay.
you kind of get ruled out. You kind of get weeded out kind of easier. Like if somebody was to come to me, or if I was to go to somebody with like a property and like say I was to give them some numbers on it, like yeah, man, this is the ARV on this property, boom, boom, you know what I mean? And it's just like completely off base, then people would they would look at me and be like, where'd you get this from? You know what I mean? And
Okay.
that they'll just leave you alone. Like it's kind of like the fall out your life. Like, yeah, so you get weeded out kind of easily if you don't know what you're doing. And that's the only way I could really see somebody like messing this up. Like you just don't know what you're doing.
Okay, so what about looking at it as like, okay, you have a property or anything, and you bring in a contractor to do repairs or anything? You have any experience with those? Any
Oh,
bad
yeah.
experience?
Well, no, not bad experiences. No, not bad experience at all.
Okay.
Yeah, just working with contractors. I mean, it's just rule of thumb, don't pay up front. Make sure you have trusted contractors. Go back and check their work. Because some of them can skim or try to skim on the jobs. And make sure that you're getting quotes. If you don't have a solid team already built, and you're just kind of starting out and you're looking for contractors, just make sure you get quotes and don't be afraid to seek out different quotes for different types of work that you're having done on your particular properties.
Okay. All right. Good advice. So I'm gonna move into like the rescue factors like that.
And I would like to also piggyback on that. When you're getting your quotes, don't be so quick to jump on the cheapest one. A lot of people will, like he said, try and skim on the job and give you a lower quote just so they can get the job. But when you're doing rehabbing, sometimes it's better to not necessarily go with the higher price, but probably the one that's in between.
Okay.
Good point.
Good advice. Good advice.
Yeah.
As cheap is not always good, because cheap is probably meaning that they're saying that they can come in cheap and then all of a sudden the money kind of adds up more
Yeah.
as they're doing the work and stuff. All right. So the risk factors and the whole gamut we're talking about, already expenses for repairs, things like that. Any other particular things you guys want to probably highlight, like as a risk factor wise, because again, if you have a house or you do go into become a landlord, then your risk factor would be having a bad tenant, possibly resulting in something, eviction costs, damage to the property. Have you guys seen any of those cases, or just more you guys just basically, hey, we buy the house, flip it, and keep it moving on?
Well, you always run the risk of having a bad tenant. With that, just make sure that you do a thorough background check. There's different sites that you can going to get the person's background and credit check, just to kind of make sure that they're stand-up people, and be leery of written to friends and family.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
how the friends and family. Most people would think, renting or doing a deal with a friend and family would be good.
Oh no, not
No.
all the time.
All right, so basically keep the distance between the friends and families for that to kind of be, I guess, to keep the emotions out of it. In the
Exactly.
portion that
Yeah.
helps out. Okay. All right. So then, what about if you're going into something and you thought the interest in property or flip or whatever was good, and all of a sudden something changes, the interest, the market change or something happened, because sometimes some of these deals could take a while to occur, and the market could easily shift. What do you guys usually try to do to try to handle that? If you're going and buying something, and then all of a sudden, interest dies down, the market shifts, like especially like with this pandemic, all of a sudden, chaos is basically comes about. Any tips
Um,
on that?
Sometimes that's just a risk of the game.
Yeah.
The market always changes, even when we don't have pandemics going around. But that also comes into play with finding a real estate agent that is being active and knows the market, because a lot of the people that I network with and myself, we're following that stuff and we're listening to the experts to know that when the market is going to change, like, the market's been real good for sellers lately into the pandemic, but they've been saying for almost a year or so that we're going to go into another recession. So being
Hmm.
involved or staying connected to your a real estate agent is very key in that aspect.
Okay. Any questions from anyone? Like Ricky, Nietzsche, Joseph?
You gotta say my name like that. No, I'm just playing. Joseph. So like now we got a house down here in Albany, Georgia, right? But we relocating to Warner Robins area. So is it better to leave my house down here and rent it out, or just go ahead and sell it and be done with it?
That depends on your
Depends on what you
situation.
want
Yeah.
to. Yeah, because I mean, Albany is a small town. Only thing we famous for is the pandemic or the coronavirus. That's where it's hot at down here. So there's nothing really going on. It's a small town. Crime is starting to rise up more than it should. And we stay in an older neighborhood because I don't like them HOA fees. All the houses look different. I don't like, the newer houses. Pretty much the whole neighborhood look the same. Old neighborhood, all the houses are different. So I was like, should I sell it or should I just rent it out? But yeah, I guess it all depends on the market. And my question to you would be: are you looking for passive income,
Right.
or
Right.
are you looking
Right.
for money to potentially invest in other ways?
Right.
Right. Because it's about the cash flow in that instance. If you sell, then you're taking the cash flow to put towards something else.
Right.
But if
Right.
you're looking for the passive income, then you just can rent it out if that's something that you want to do.
But then if you don't want to deal with the people, because that be the problem with landlords, so if you said that, the crime rate is going up and you just don't want to deal with that, just like she said, have another option that with that money, when you sell it, you go to purchase something else, to be able to rent out, because you still want to have, passive income. So yeah, just have a plan to buy something else if you don't want to deal with those type of tenants. No need to keep something you don't, really want to deal with. Just sell it and
That's
have a
true. That's true. I appreciate y'all.
plan.
All right. So I'm gonna move it on to, let's say, well, let's see, Ricky, do you have any questions? Nietzsche?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. Now, any of the other, since we have this up on the screen right now, anything else that you guys may come to mind thinking about, interest, anticipation? Because when you're telling Joseph, basically, you have to look at, what are you trying to do in the long term? Some suggestions was basically it's taking the money out of the current property and it's going to buy another property that you can rent out in a better neighborhood. Things like any other suggestions or thoughts?
Another possible suggestion would be, if you don't want to deal with the tenants, is to find a property management company, and you have to pay them a certain fee, but they'll handle the tenants and the repairs and all that for you, and you still get the passive income without having to deal with the headache. But you it's sort of like having a business. It's like overhead costs.
Right.
Before we move on, I got another question. What about lending your house out to Section 8?
You don't lend it out. You have to make sure that it's Section 8 approved. And then once you get approved by Section 8, you can rent it out that way. At least here in South Carolina, that's how it is. But again, that's dealing with a different, what's a nice way to say it?
Segment of consumers.
Right. It's a lot of risk, but at least you'll get your monthly payments.
That's
for
true.
sure you're getting a for sure payment, but it's still a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Be a lot of baby kids in there.
I thought, well, I ain't gonna say I thought, but what I've heard is that even if the tenants come to your house and they mess it up, that the government's responsible to get it back to the fixing all the problems that them tenants put in there in the first place. Do y'all know if that's true or not?
Not here in South Carolina.
I'm not familiar with that as well here in Georgia. Well, you're here in Georgia, but no, I'm not familiar with that as well.
Well, there goes that. Thank you.
I was under the same impression that you were, Joe. I thought they also paid for it too, the damages.
And then if
They
they
could.
do, they drag their feet with it. Just
Right.
knowing from people that live in Section 8, they don't fix it like that. So I don't know how much, they urging on fixing things, because I just know that they drag their feet. So I don't know.
I actually have a friend who's renting out to it. She does it, and the tenant actually messed up the bathroom. I think he was mental health, and he was like flushing stuff down the toilet and stuff. It messed up the pipes and everything in her yard, and she had to pay for that, not the government.
Wow. That was here in South Carolina?
No, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sell this house. Thank y'all. I'm just gonna sell it.
Well, hey, if you need an agent, you know who to call.
I got you.
Yeah, plug that piece right on in there.
Oh yeah.
All right, good discussion, good questions. So, I'm going to focus on, people looking at the exit strategy of what you're trying to do, how to get out of certain things, from renting a property, to if you just currently own a property, to if you're, wholesaling for mobile homes, stuff like that, have land. What is the most, how important having an exit strategy is, for any type of investment, especially when it comes down to the property game?
That's the first thing you should be thinking of.
Right. It's like
Even
the
though it's
most
an exit
important.
strategy, you're supposed to have it first.
Yeah, the most important thing.
Right.
It'd be bad. You wouldn't want to get stuck. Just say if you went in with a hard money loan and some of the interest rates, you would not want to get stuck holding the bag for some of that stuff. So knowing your exit strategy beforehand is crucial.
Okay. So even though it's the exit, it needs to basically be the beginning.
Most definitely.
Out of everything.
Oh yes.
Okay. All right. So pretty much building off of that, saying you have to build your exit plan. So if you say, I want to go into the mobile home, side of things. All right. So thinking about, all right, what am I going to do if I can't sell this, mobile home? You know, where can I have to be able to store it if I have to move it and something happens to basically the property I was going to move it to and stuff. So
You know
those are
what's
questions you have to ask.
what I think the most beautiful thing about mobile homes is this, right? Now, it can get expensive, but say you have a mobile home in a park and it's not renting in that park for some reason and you can't sell it in that park. You can move it. And you just got to kind of prospect for another area, see what it's see how the area is turning over, see how it's being maintained, and then know the distance because you're gonna have to pay for that. So know the distance between where yours is and where that is. And if you think you can get over there and make a sale, then you pay that money, get it moved, and then you make a sale.
Okay. So I'll look at it as like how we discussed before. I was people just looking at, how much money do they need to have up front? But that would also calculate into your exit strategy that you have to consider. So if you're, saying you bought it, put it on this land, you have to move it. Now you're looking at probably another like $2,000, give or take, depends on the far distance you have to travel. So you have to account for that when you're actually going into this. Or even you looking at buying a property doesn't work out, and now you basically have to try to sell a property. You're looking at basically costs, and basically what it costs you to, clean everything up, make it look all pretty, advertising and getting with the agent to basically be able to exit out of that property as well.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that, or what are you thinking? Like, questions or anything, or any input? Okay. All right. And Ms. Walker, I want to go back to what you were saying about like a hard money loan. Just to can you give a brief summary of basically what that is, so people who are not aware of what that is?
Yeah, so hard money loans are really just if you decide or if you don't have the ability to go to a traditional route of financing. And traditional, I mean going out to get a loan with a traditional bank. You have the ability to work with investors who specialize in lending as private investors pretty much. And typically those hard money lenders do charge points. They have higher interest rates than your traditional route, but you're not required to have the same same credentials that you would have if you were seeking out a traditional loan. And that would be credit scores, taxes, income taxes, any of those things. Hard money lenders typically focus on the numbers. So they want to know really if in their investment or of their investment, like when is it going to return profit, and can you return the profit, and does it make sense for them to loan or to lend?
Okay, appreciate that.
Sound like a loan shark.
Yeah, sort of. Some of them got decent rates though.
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah, like they're not all like super greedy, but sometimes they can be a little bit higher than your traditional route.
The thing is, they just got so much money. They need to do something with it, so they loan it out.
That's what you want to be.
Yeah, I wish I had the problem. I just have so much money. Let somebody borrow it.
Well, hey, that's why we have the group. That's why we're trying to build investments and do trades like that to get your money up to a point where basically you have so much of it that you literally looking around like, who wants my money? Like, who come get my money? And stuff like that. Got to build things off that way.
Building wealth. Building wealth.
Yeah, that's what it's all
And I
about.
have worked with clients who actually partner together. So don't always feel like you have to do it alone. Like we did cover this earlier as far as building your team. But that team could just be an actual partner or partners where you can invest. And sometimes it may be larger than single family homes if you have a pool of investors coming together. So definitely seek out that route as well. So don't feel like you always have to do everything or go at it alone.
All right.
Okay.
And then also with the hard money lenders, with these RIA groups, it's a lot of private hard money lenders that are part of those groups. And sometimes they have better rates, or they'll work with you for better terms if they have that relationship with you. So that's one of the importances of joining those local RIA groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I look at it as that's really going back to building out the team. You know, the team not necessarily saying permanent members, but members basically where you can find out, you know, where you get your money from, you know, who you may partner up with if you don't have enough, you know, finances to do certain things. If you're going to bring in someone, just a regular person into it to help you with the money. So that's all kind of wrap around building a team structure who will be able to help you do and move and do things, you know, that you probably wouldn't be able to do by yourself.
Mhm.
And risk, you know, reduce the risk factor for everything. Okay. All right. So we're going to, you know, start wrapping it up. Do anyone have anything, other inputs or anything you want to, you know, bring up or discussion? Any questions?
Was this recorded? Because I might say this was some jewels dropped inside this room. Okay.
Definitely, yeah, I know, right?
I did hit the button that said record. It was just, unfortunately, it was right after Ms. Walker said to introduce herself. So I probably just gonna have you do it real
No,
quick,
you're fine.
real
No,
quick.
you're not
Come
like
on, come on, come on. You sure? I want to make
yeah, I'm
sure.
good. I don't have to have the intro again.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, like I said, I literally just like clicked it right after she finished, so it kind of picked up from there. It's been recording for the last hour and 13 minutes or so. So, you know, once we're done here, I'll get everything and, you know, put it out to the group and stuff like that, so you guys can share it, reshare it, or whatever you want to do with it.
I'll say something.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I really appreciate this. You know what I mean? I think that this is something good, and this is something that needs to stay. And I think with the more that we do it, the more traction it'll pick up.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I definitely like to know that, like, obviously I know Joe lives in Georgia, but like one of y'all live in Georgia and one of y'all live in South Carolina. Like I'm here in Texas, Justin's in Virginia. You know what I mean? Like, so like just to know that we're growing, but we're also spreading at the same time is like it's a really good thing. Like
Right.
I really appreciate how all this came together.
Right.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, very well put together. Loved it.
I would like to say one final thing about the investments. Once you start to build your portfolio, remember that these are assets, and like any business, you want to protect your assets. So you want to put everything under LLC. Don't put things in your own name.
Oh yes.
Maybe if you
That's what's
have
up.
one or two, that'll be fine. But if you have really anything over one, but make sure that you put it in the LLC so they can't sue you personally. They have to sue your company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's, you know, something we probably have a Q&A about that, kind of, you know, starting your own business like that. But yeah, that protection from your personal property is a huge thing that a lot of people don't think about. They go in thinking they, you know, do sole proprietor or they just do it on their own, and then yeah, something happens and all of a sudden they're in basically court and being sued for basically all of their assets, and they're like, what's going on here? While there's someone else who did an LLC or did a corporation, they're like, oh, I'm fine because there's a split entity between me and my personal assets. All you're going after is the, you know, LLC or the corporate, you know, account, and that doesn't really have anything in it. So it's a way of protecting. So I think we'll probably have a Q&A about, you know, business development and starting, you know, a little small little business through an LLC or corporation. I think that'll be helpful to people too.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
And all you agents, let's link up. My name is Everton Clark. I put a comment in the on the Zoom thing. Just look me up because I like to network with people out of state also.
Hey, yeah, definitely. Get
Yes.
we can all do this. Like I said, I wholesale out of state as well. So y'all are there's at least 2 realtors in here. So yeah, definitely. Let's link up. Let's make something happen.
I'm
All
with
right.
it.
All right, guys. Well, I'll go ahead and end everything, and you can pretty much hit each up through the group and everything as well. Like I said, I will get this video and everything ready and put it out to the group. So appreciate you guys joining, and hope you
Thank
enjoy the rest
you.
of your day.
What
Thank
about the
money?
prize?
The money? The
Yeah.
money? You worry about that?
Yeah, because I asked a lot of questions, man. I think
I told you.
You can't get the
Joe,
money
you ain't
anyway, so just let it go.
getting no money.
Joe, you do not qualify, okay? You don't qualify.
You
So
ain't getting that money, boy.
so me and the admins will have a discussion about who we feel, will get the money and stuff like that. And we'll reach out to the individual. Joe, this is just Joe's not you.
Just know that. Just know that.
Just know it's not you. And that even goes, the ladies who are on the panel, they also will be in the pool as well. But Joe, it is not you at all.
Rest assured.
All right, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
got the money. I got the money already. So I'm not worried about y'all.
Oh my goodness, Joe. Yeah, we're done. So, you guys have a good one.
Thank y'all.
Thank